Thank you everyone for joining us tonight. Public Safety and Transportation Committee, December 7th. Appreciate you all being here. We will now begin the meeting. Let's see, ground rules. Oh, Angel, could you read the ground rules?
Sure. Hello, everyone. This is Angel Muscane. No one may speak until granted the floor. CB11 members, if you have a question about board business or wish to make a motion, please raise your hand through Zoom. If you click on the participants icon, the panel will appear and you should find the raise hands function there. If you still have technical difficulty, you may click the chat icon and relay your difficulty to the staff. The chat function should not be used for CB11 business or questions about agenda topics. All such remarks should be made on the record by raising your hand through Zoom. Chat should only be used to alert us of any technical difficulties you are having or to state in writing information, like an email address, that was already stated aloud on the record during the meeting. Please keep your questions and comments succinct and germane to the discussion. Members of the public, if you have a question or comment about the subjects on the agenda, please raise your hand through Zoom and wait to be recognized.
Thank you, Angel. It also gave me a minute to bite into my chicken roll. All right, we're doing a call to order. We're doing this by objections. Is that how we're doing it, Angel?
Oh, no, you just call the meeting to order and state the time you're starting,
right.
And then I'll call a roll.
I'm calling the meeting to order. It is 6:39. Can we start with the roll call?
Sure. Members, when I call your name, please answer present. Jose Altamirano.
Present.
Eric Alcancela. Diane Collier. Carlos Diaz.
Present.
Judith Febraro.
Present.
Osendi Garcia. Marissa Mack.
Present.
Miguel Pava.
Present.
Dawn Sanders. Michelle Wiltshire Clement.
Present.
Jessica is excused. You have quorum.
Perfect. I'd like to adopt the agenda. I also do that by anyone abstains or against adopting the agenda, please.
Make a motion to adopt the agenda.
Thank you, Carlos. I'd also like to adopt the committee minutes.
For a Medicare Advantage plan that includes additional benefits like free hearing aids, free eyeglasses,
And
free rides to medical appointments.
Carlos, give me another motion.
$0 monthly premiums.
Adopt the
Make the
minutes.
motion.
To adopt the minutes.
Just call the toll-free
I make a motion to adopt the minutes.
Perfect, thank you.
This no obligation Medicare benefits review is absolutely free. If you're not sure if you're getting all.
And
Just call the number on your screen.
Carlos, mute. I think your TV is.
Am I muted?
Someone's.
You don't get these.
Or someone's. I hear someone's.
So don't
TV.
wait. Phone lines get busy during the.
We have no announcements. Does anyone have any announcements? This is a good time. I'd also like to do them again at the end. Okay, let's move on. Okay, the 23rd precinct will not be here tonight. Also, Gibbons, as I said, had a family situation. I know the 25th, we had a new officer replacing Officer Rivera. I'm not sure if she's here today. I went to the last month's meeting with Kyoko, and I didn't get to meet her there. I think she was away on vacation.
Yeah, I sent the invitation, but I don't see that person on the list.
Okay, so let's move forward. PSA is not here. T is not here, but we have our very own Jeremy Lockett. Jeremy, it's your show.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Jeremy Lockett from the Manhattan DA's office, the Community Partnership Unit. Hope everyone's doing well. I don't have too many updates. I have some things coming in the next couple months. So I'm just going to give a little precursor to some of that and a couple announcements from our office. But as you know, next month, January, the new DA will take office. I can assure you that nothing's going to change on this end. I will be coming to these meetings and participating in the community. We just need to figure out any changes and convey them the best way. So if anyone has any particular questions, I know Alvin Bragg has ran on his platform, Democratic-elect DA. So if anyone has any questions, you can send them my way and I can forward them to the transition team. But again, by next meeting, we will have a new DA for Manhattan. A couple things coming up in February will be the deadline for our college internships and interns. We have two different types. I will give a flyer. It's not yet approved for outreach, but I'm excited that for 2022, we'll be offering internships throughout the year. Just depends on the interest and timing of the individual. As far as my office and my unit, particularly the community partnership unit, we're actually hiring right now. I do want to get the word out. I will put this information that I'm saying and some links to that information in the chat box. But if you know anyone that would like to be in the community partnership unit, work with myself and some of the initiatives that we have, you can reach out to me. You can hear more about the position. That would be great. We can speak more in details as far as that. Other than that, our Harlem office is completely open right now for in-person meetings. Our counselors and advocates are present. So that is from our witness aid service unit. I know it's a busy time. There's still a lot of things going on in the community. So if we can be a resource, if you are a witness or if you are a victim of a certain crime, you can feel free to reach out to us. Whether that case is open, we can take that, and whether it's something that's happened in the past or some other person, third party, we can connect you to someone else. So I'm going to put my information like I do in the chat. But if you have any questions, I will take them and I'll try to answer them. And if I cannot, I will kick them up the ladder, of course. But it's good to be here and hope everyone's doing well.
Thanks a lot, Jeremy. We appreciate it. Do we have any questions for Jeremy while he's here? Jeremy, do we know if you'll continue being our liaison?
Yeah, that's no question. Yep.
Beautiful.
Hopefully y'all are happy with me. You can just,
Oh,
okay.
very happy with you.
Okay, great. There we go. Okay, hope that question.
Marissa.
Okay.
Have your hand
Marissa.
raised?
Sorry, no question. I was just saying we're happy with your service.
Oh,
Thank you so much.
absolutely.
It's a pleasure being here. It's a pleasure being here.
Well, happy holidays, Jeremy. Thank you for always being
Thank
with
you.
us. We appreciate you always.
I'll be here for a bit. It's a pleasure, y'all.
Oh, thanks. And now we go to DOT, our very own Lyle Blackwood.
Hi, Jose. Good evening, everyone. Lyle Blackwood from DOT. Not much to report this month. Still no update in regards to the Pleasant Avenue project. Hopefully we should have something as far as an update by next month's meeting. I did want to have a quick conversation, follow up in regards to the one we had last month about the signals and the intersections and our potential site visits throughout CB11. Jose, I'm not sure if you saw my email. I think I sent it to you a little while back with a couple of dates.
I did not see it, no.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I sent an email. I'll send it again to you. Basically, I reached out to our signals division and through a couple of dates, and it looks like they are able to come on one of three dates pretty much this month.
Okay.
If any of these dates work for you and for the committee, we can put it on the calendar pretty much. The dates would be this Friday, December 10th, next Monday, December 13th, and next Friday, December 17th, all at 3 p.m. So we would pretty much, as we discussed before, start ideally if you want on 96th Street and pretty much, walk that corridor from First to.
Could you give me the dates again?
This Friday,
This
December.
Friday, December 10th, which
Mhm.
probably won't work.
Yeah, probably
Kinda
not at this point. Next Monday, the 13th,
Okay.
and next Friday, the 17th, all at 3 p.m. on one of those 3 days.
Okay.
If any of those days work for you in the committee.
I'm gonna speak to the committee and probably give them maybe a day, and definitely pick one of those two because it's something that we definitely want to do.
Yeah, so if you want to start off at 96th Street, like I said, we can go from 1st to 5th, let's just say, next week on one of those 2 days, and then we can move our way up. So if there are any certain intersections or certain stretches or major corridors, we can start putting some dates in the calendar for those, I guess, say in the coming year, in January or so, if that works for you. We can start off, I think, with 96 to start off with and work our way up. So if one of those 2 dates works for us. So just keep us posted.
Definitely. Thank you.
That's pretty much it. Unless you have anything for me.
Do we have any updates on 117th Street? I haven't heard anything as of late. Did
Yeah, we're still no
the DOT
update.
get an accord with Blumenfeld?
Yeah, we're I think we have something scheduled before the holiday with the mall just to have a follow-up conversation. I know you guys are waiting to hear the results of that. So hopefully by next month's meeting, we should have an update for you and hopefully we can move forward. But nothing for this month's meeting to report as far as any new news on that front.
Okay. We also had the questions we brought up last month about the different having a pedestrian kind of cross timing, but you were letting us know that there is a way to do a lead timing. How do we go about making that request in particular? Do we do it through you, or
you can do it through me, or you can do it through the DOT website. If you go on the website, you click on the contact DOT tab. It should take you to a page where basically there's a drop-down menu, and for any issue that we deal with, you should be able to pick a category.
No, we'll do it through you.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to do it that way, it's fine.
Appreciate it. Thanks for the info, but we'll do it through. We have 2 questions. We have Marissa and Angel.
Sure.
Go ahead, Marissa.
Hi, Lyle. Thank you for presenting. I just had a quick question. I guess, so the 117 and Pleasant Avenue project, does that include, I know at one point you'd spoken about widening the sidewalk in that area, right? That's one thing that you guys are working on. Are you also working on the parking situation and like the double parking and possibly using that area as a parking space for Instacart and other delivery services? Is that included in the update?
Well, ideally for the Pleasant Avenue 117th Street project, as far as widening the sidewalk, one part of the project would call for essentially a curb extension that's painted on the north side of the block. So what we are proposing is pretty much not to have it in concrete, but we would have a painted curb extension and ideally planters or boulders, something of a physical barrier that would prevent cars from going up along the curb, so it creates more of a wider pedestrian space for those on the north side. As far as the Instacart situation, I think once we would move forward with the installation of the rest of the project, we can see what we can do about the Instacart and other delivery services. It's a little difficult for us to try to fold it in. I know that there have been some issues as far as I think access to the garage, at least as far as the mall is concerned. This
There have
project.
been a number of issues. There have been a number of issues there besides just that. There have been issues with people parking. There have been issues with litter from the people that are double parking and then just staying there all day and throwing their trash in the street. There are a number of issues in regards to that. If it's possible for you guys to also loop that into your conversation, I think that's just as important in terms of safety, in terms of people being able to maneuver on Pleasant Avenue as widening the sidewalk, because it's now becoming an issue for businesses as well. In addition to just people in the area. So that I think that is an issue that DOT could look at and possibly address if possible.
Yeah, one thing that we've been doing as part of the project, we've also been having conversations with the 25th Precinct, just to see what they can do from an enforcement capacity. So, while those talks are ongoing, we're having those conversations with them. Have another one with the mall, just as far as, follow up on our project and the maintenance partner situation. And, you have your stakeholders, including the council members. So, I'll bring that back. And we'll see if there's anything we can do, to try to address that in the meantime, as well as the enforcement component.
Marissa,
Thank you,
just
Lau.
clarify, the project that we're talking about is exclusively 117 between Pleasant and the mall.
I know, no. Yeah, no, I was just saying if they could also include that in what they are looking at, because we had discussed that.
No,
previously.
and I know that Instacart's an issue, and we've gotten numerous issues there, complaints from the community.
Mhm.
So definitely the things you're bringing up are valid, but just they may have to be dealt independently of that project, because that project is already kind of underway. Angel?
Thanks, Jose. Hey, Lyle. Forgive me if this has been addressed in the past few months. I haven't been attending these, but I did want to ask if there's been any progress on the 128th Street pedestrian bridge.
Good question. Nothing I've heard to this point. I know that we're working with DDC, on the project that's up there. I can check in with our pedestrian unit to see if they have any updates. It's been a while since we've heard from them. DDC, along with our bridges division and our PED unit, are working on that project to remove the bridge that's by 128th Street and 3rd Avenue, and to try to make it more pedestrian friendly. So we've been having conversations, at least pre-pandemic, with the principals of the schools around there and some other stakeholders. And I don't know where we stand at this point. I know that we were working on trying to do some stuff, and then the pandemic hit. But I can definitely check in with the team to see if there are any updates, and I can get back to you. It's no problem.
Thank you, Lyle.
You're welcome.
We have Judith and then Carlos.
Hi, Lyle.
Go ahead, Judith.
Hi. Quite some time ago, DOT put a right lane turn only in front of my building. I was against it then, and even more so now. That lane is basically used for just the school buses, access to ride if they're picking up people from my building, delivery services, whether it's food or whatever else. It is actually not used as a right turn lane because there's always someone in that lane, especially the school buses in the morning, in the midday, in the afternoon. So why I have never understood why that one block of right turn lane is in front of my building.
Well, we can take a look at the area again. Is it on the west side of 5th and 120th or the east side, just to verify?
No, it's not on 5th. It's on Madison Avenue between 119th and 120th.
Okay.
And it's directly in front of my building, and it's only that one block. And like I said, all you get is school buses, deliveries, access to ride, people double parking because there is no other way to get in the building when they're picking something up. It's actually a useless, completely useless lane.
All right, I'll see if we can talk to our team. It might be ideally an enforcement issue if it's essentially being used as a loading zone. I mean, that area should be cleared.
We're a private building. I mean, it.
Yeah, that theoretically it shouldn't
I
be.
mean, I have used that right turn there, but I'm sure that people do park in front of. They're parking what, in front of the building or on the side of the building? Is it on the avenue, Judith, or on the street?
It's on the avenue. The
Okay.
school buses are on the avenue, the delivery services. Let's say someone's moving in or moving out, it's right on the avenue. Access to ride, picking people up from the building. There's no commercial space in my building, by my building at all. So
And there's
Access to ride is picking up from your building, Judith.
yeah, they
I mean,
pick up
but
people.
that's what people need. I don't understand why that's an issue.
Yeah, no, it's completely useless. It's not, there's more of
But even
truck-
if it wasn't a right turn, people would still, excessive red would still park there.
And
So,
so would the school buses, and so would
right.
trucks.
So it
making
sounds like it's
deliveries.
more of an enforcement issue than anything. And this is, the school buses have been an issue for you since I
Well,
joined the
not just
community
for
board.
me, for everyone here. But I mean, it's a useless lane. Well, it doesn't matter because I'm not gonna get anywhere with it anyway, but I'm just stating a fact that it's a useless lane. I mean,
Thank
the
you.
only time that someone can make a right turn from there is probably late at night when nobody else is around, or not even early in the morning because the school buses are there.
Yeah, if anything, I can run up there real quick and check out, that intersection, at some point in the near future. And I can also give a heads up to the precinct, just to kind of check the area a little bit more. If there are any cars that are parked there. There's no standing or no parking signage in front of your building, right? Just to verify.
No, there's
Okay.
no standing, no, it's only a
It's yeah.
alternate side of the street parking.
Yeah,
That's the only
yeah,
thing
yeah.
that's there. And we
Yeah,
certainly don't want a no standing or anything like that here.
Okay.
Because
Okay.
it's
Just
a
want to make
private
sure.
building.
Okay, so yeah, I'll give a heads up to the precinct. And like I said, I'll go up there and just check out the situation when I'm in the neighborhood. But yeah, I like I said, it sounds like it's primarily an enforcement issue. But like I said, I'll check it out and see what what it looks like when I'm in the neighborhood.
All right.
Thank you, Laura. Carlos?
Please,
Yeah,
all I ask is that you don't make it
Judith,
worse.
we're moving on, okay?
Just quickly,
Carlos?
106th Street between Park and Lexington Avenue. They
Mhm.
built a no parking area in between going east and west. And we have the Department of Traffic, not Department of Traffic, but people give out the summonses, parking their vehicle in the middle of the street there, where it's supposed to be no parking at all. And now you see tons and tons of police, traffic cars, police cars, all along that corridor in the middle of the street.
Mhm.
So one of the problems that we're having is that going east and west, there's a lot of traffic now building up. You got buses being stopped there. You have a dialysis unit that can't drop off dialysis patients. What can we do about, having those vehicles removed from that area? Because they're not supposed to be parking those vehicles there. And they're like police vehicles, but they belong to the Department of people that give out the summonses. What can we
Traffic.
do about that?
Yeah, that's also enforced. Unfortunately, we don't. DOT doesn't do enforcement. Oddly enough, well, NYPD does enforcement. So if those are NYPD vehicles, theoretically they would have to move their own cars. Yeah,
Those
there's
are traffic police. I mean, that's the
They're
traffic.
traffic police. They're not more
106.
police vehicles, but they're traffic police.
Well, yeah. NYPD, at least through their traffic enforcement or traffic safety division, theoretically would be in charge of handing out tickets. So, it might be an internal situation with the precinct. You might have to go through them directly to address those concerns. But unfortunately, at least from a DOT standpoint, enforcement-wise, there's nothing that we can do. We don't have any towing capacity or, any ability to remove cars, unfortunately. That's up to the precinct in this instance.
And then the other thing is that you have signs that read no parking underneath the tunnels, and there's parking there constantly.
Yeah.
105, 107, 108. And that's ridiculous. You have a sign specifically that says no parking underneath the tunnel. And you got 6 cars parked underneath the tunnel there. Who do we approach regarding that?
That's also the precinct as well. If we put up the signs, ideally, no car should be parking there at all. Police cars, civilian cars, or otherwise.
But most of the civilian cars that are being parked there belong to the Department of people who give out the summonses. They park their cars there illegally.
Yeah, same
And that's why
situation.
the police department don't even touch them.
Yeah, same situation. That would have to be something that you'd have to go through the precinct through. We don't have the ability to remove those cars. All we can do is put up the signage alerting cars not to park, but we wouldn't have the ability to remove those cars, unfortunately. That's to the precinct.
Thank you very much.
No problem.
Angel has a question.
Yeah, just following up on what Carlos is asking about, like that issue, both those issues, the tunnel parking, we've been raising that forever and a day. And we've made the case that it's not only is it wrong, but it's potentially dangerous, right? Like we've raised the school buses have difficulty, moving their vehicles in and out of those tunnels. And I don't know if it's fallen on deaf ears, but it certainly hasn't had any results. And then this stuff on 106th Street, that was a street redesign, that DOT initiated and, promised would have a number of benefits. But if having vehicles parked right on the meridian that's been painted as part of the street redesign has been the result, then is it really providing the benefit that DOT intended? And if it isn't because of that practice by, it's not theoretically, it's in truth, if that, that ongoing practice, then shouldn't DOT consider removing those improvements if those improvements are being undermined by the practice of traffic enforcement? Is that something that we should be pursuing? Because I'm seconding what Carlos said. It's kind of absurd. Like on paper, that street redesign should work, but if you have vehicles in the way in a very highly transited, area of our district with schools and buses and, health, medical vehicles, kind of defeats the purpose or the intent of the redesign. No, Lyle?
No, I understand. I mean, when DOT does these designs, it's intended with safety in mind and to have those areas cleared. Maybe it's worth having a conversation with the precinct. Maybe it might be a good idea to have a conversation with them or a meeting just to address those concerns. Because I mean, we have our reasoning for doing it. But if it is something that's being I wouldn't say ignored, but if it's something that's being, I guess, abused as far as parking, like I said, maybe it might be worth having a conversation with the precinct to see if, we can have a conversation with them to, at least, see from our point of view as well as yours. It sounds like it might be something worth discussing in more detail with them.
But it
I think
seems
that's
that
a
one
good
of the
idea.
problems that we're having is that law enforcement is not doing anything because there are the police officers that are being parked there or people that work for the department of give out the summonses, so they're not going to touch them, and that's been the case for a while already. I even approached the police guys and said, what are they doing there? How come you don't give them a summons? Because we're not allowed to get involved with that. So to bring the captain or to bring the law enforcement involved, it defeats the purposes. So Angel did a good recommendation. If that's going to be the case, then we should eliminate that and just let it become the way it used to be. So no one could park in the middle of the street. Just a recommendation.
Lyle obviously is limited, but notoriously NYPD won't enforce on traffic or other NYPD.
Exactly.
We may have to reach out to the borough president for help on this because it is an issue in 106th Street. It's a huge issue. Not just with that, but all the metered parking that was installed on 106th Street and on the avenues, they get taken up mostly by the people in the traffic, and you'll see all of them having placards, and it limits any, the whole point of the metered parking there was also for the businesses on 106th Street, so that people could go in and out, go get some whatever they need to do, and parking on 116 is very limited.
And not only that, just to let you know that they park illegally where the pumps are at. They park right where the pump is at, where the bus is at. So it's not only, where they're not supposed to be parking, but you get a lot of them parking illegally in front of the pump. If I was to park in front of the pump, I get a summons immediately from them.
That we're going to add, on their to-do list to make sure that we follow up, to make sure that that area is improved. Because absolutely, this has been going on for years and years and years. Lyle, I had a question for you. Who's in charge of the meters? Is that DOT?
In what sense? As far as installing them or as far as any tickets?
And as far as actually the meters working?
That would be us.
Because on 116th Street, none of the meters work.
Really?
They do not, they only accept coins. They do not take credit cards.
Okay.
That's 116, 2nd and 3rd. Literally, people are walking over to 2nd Avenue across the street from Milano's they have to get a ticket from there and then walk back. And a few of the neighbors here have gotten tickets in the middle of that transition. Carlos, could you
Okay.
put your hand down? Or do you have another question? I believe we have similar situations with Third Avenue between 115 and 116. And tomorrow verify 116 between Third and Lex, but definitely 116 Second and Third. There are 1, 2, 3, 4 meters. None of them accept credit cards.
Okay.
I've made quite a few 311 complaints.
Mhm.
I know some of the neighbors have made complaints, and then they get closed off like it was fixed, but it's
Still,
not fixed.
okay, I'll follow up on our side and see, address that, and I'll let you know what happens. I'll see what I can find out for you.
Thank you. Do we have any more questions for Lau? Man, Lau, we're letting you off easy today.
Well, thank you, everyone. Happy holidays. And if you need anything from me, you can always email me or give me a call. I'll put my information in the chat if you need anything, and I'll stick around for a little bit.
Thank you, Lau. Happy holidays. I'll speak with the committee later on to see if, which date people prefer. And I mean, we'll try to do the majority, but I definitely don't want to wait too long, because we definitely won't cover everything in one meet.
Yeah, we can definitely take our time. And, again, whichever locations, whichever corridors you'd like for us to, to explore or reevaluate or, take a site visit on, by all means, just let me know and we can put it on the calendar. It's not a problem.
Thank you, Lau.
You're welcome.
All right, we're going to move on to our presentations and discussions. We have an informational presentation regarding the Be Heard program.
Hello, everybody. I'm actually not Nicole Torres. I'm Susan Herman. I'm the director of the Mayor's Office of Community Mental Health. And I thank you for inviting us to present this evening. I thought that given the opportunity to address community leaders, we would present to you on what it means to seek and all the different options that you have available to you for mental health crisis support in your neighborhood. If you would allow Jason to share his screen, he'll put up our PowerPoint. Would that be okay?
Yes.
Okay, it's coming. So first, let me just say, let's go to the next slide, a few words about our office. The Mayor's Office of Community Mental Health oversees strategies to fill critical gaps in mental health care, so every New Yorker in every neighborhood has the support they need. Essentially, we have two major functions, main functions. One is interagency policy coordination and improvement. So we work with city agencies to make sure that their policies and protocols are as good as they can be to make sure that every New Yorker can be reached. And we oversee a dynamic or ever-changing portfolio of programs implemented by city agencies and their 200 community-based partners. Next. I'd like to talk to you tonight about information about support that's available to you when someone is having a mental health crisis. I'm going to talk about how to get help quickly. I'll talk through the Be Heard new 911 crisis response, the health-centered response, NYC Well, when to call 911 or 311, who else you can call, what's the mental health crisis, what do we mean when we say that, ongoing care, and then I hope to take some of your questions next. So there are really three main numbers that all of you should know yourselves and to talk to everyone in your community district about. First of all, if you need to talk to a professional immediately and you're not sure who to call, you can call 188-NYC-WELL and you'll get a trained counselor. You can speak to a peer, someone with lived experience if you'd like. They can talk to you in different languages. I'll talk more about that later. If there's someone you think needs support and you believe that they are homeless, you should be calling 311. And they can also provide on-scene assistance. If you think someone's life is in imminent danger, you should be calling 911. And we'll go over that in more detail. Next. So Be Heard is our new mental health emergency response. It's the first ever health-only, health-centered emergency mental health response in New York City. It stands for the Behavioral Health Emergency Assistance Response Division. And these teams consist of 2 EMTs or paramedics and a social worker. The goals of Be Heard are to route 911 mental health calls to this response whenever it's appropriate. We believe that whenever you can treat a health problem through a health solution, that's the way to go. So whenever we can do it, we will be doing it. It's also to increase connection to community-based care, reduce unnecessary transports to hospital emergency departments, treat people either on scene or in other community-based care whenever we can, and reduce unnecessary use of police resources. What do these teams do? They provide in-person assessment, de-escalation. They can provide assistance on site. And again, they can refer to community-based care or sometimes just reconnect someone to a provider that they were connected to. Next slide. So where are they? They're across northern Manhattan in these precincts, the 25, 26, 28, 30, and the 32. So how does this work? We recommend, and this is what we hope you can counsel people about, we recommend that callers to 911, if they think there's an emergency, describe the situation. And then what happens is a trained EMT assigns the most appropriate response based on the location, the circumstances, the need, and the availability of these Be Heard teams. So compared to the traditional response, what's happening where we think it's very promising. More people are accepting help. There are fewer hospitalizations. And as I said, there are more options for community-based care. 25% are served on site, 18% transported to another community-based care site. And every single person that the Be Heard teams respond to is offered follow-up services. Next. So what is a mental health crisis? There's a difference between an urgent crisis and an emergency. And basically, I would say, think about the emergency room in a hospital versus urgent care, or something where you need a response within minutes versus a response where maybe you could see somebody in a couple of hours. So when should you call NYC Well? You should call NYC Well if you need immediate help and counseling, someone to talk to right now. You need connection to ongoing care, and you need a referral maybe, or you need to find out, we want names of a few providers in your community. Maybe you want to ask someone if they know of a provider who speaks a certain language, or you want a provider that's near your place of work, not your place of home. They can help you find ongoing care. But they can also, listening to you describe what's happening, they can also offer you on-site urgent attention through mobile crisis teams. We'll talk about that in a minute. But who responds when I call NYC Well? You can get a counselor, as I said, you can get a peer. We have counselors, people who answer this phone, who can speak English, Spanish, and Chinese. We can also interpret 200 languages. So when you reach out, you describe what you need. Next slide. And if you need in-person urgent medical care, you can ask about a mobile crisis team, or they may suggest one. These are clinicians and peers that can arrive anywhere in the city, 7 days a week, 8 to 8 p.m. within 2 hours. And this is something that has changed. It used to take a whole lot longer to get to people's homes. We're very pleased that we've been able to add more and more mobile crisis team so that now we can provide that kind of urgent care. They provide support. They can engage in de-escalation, help people sort of feel a little bit reoriented to their surroundings and who they are and what's going on. They can assess their situation and again, connect them to ongoing care. They can also see them several times. They can come back and see them in a couple of days or the next day if they need that kind of attention. To reach NYC Well, you can call, text, or chat. And we've had over the last several years, I think we're up to 1.5 million contacts to NYC Well in all of these ways. And over 95% of the people who connect with NYC Well are satisfied with the services that they get. Next slide. So if, however, you think that you need a response within minutes, an in-person response within minutes, as opposed to something where you think you believe you could wait a couple of hours, you call 911 because you believe that if you don't have a response within minutes, you or someone you know is at risk of harming themselves or others, or there's just imminent danger involved. So what happens when I call 911? You might get an NYPD and EMS response. That's the traditional response. In some cases now, we have mounted the Be Heard program. And if the location is right, if the criteria are met, you may get a Be Heard team. How do you connect with 911? You can call or you can text. And this is, if you get texting to 911 is free. People should know that. And it's available to people who need it. So in terms of NYC Well 911, you can call or you can text. Next slide. If you see someone who is in a public place who you believe is homeless and they have a mental health need or substance use need, and you want to get help for them, please call 311. And a street outreach team, a Department of Homelessness street outreach team, or someone from one of their community-based organizations will respond to them, and they will help them. They will not only assess their mental health and their behavioral health need, they will work with them to support a transition into shelter and housing. What do? They assess the situation. They can provide transportation to a shelter, to an intake place, or to another community-based care if they need it right then. Sometimes to take someone to a cooling center or a warming center, sometimes to a hospital if that's what they need. How do you connect with it? Again, phone, text, dial 311, download the app, text 311 at 311-692. Next slide. So in addition to these three numbers, which are the ones that I really want you to know and remember the difference between them, you have other services available to people in your neighborhood. So some of them you can access yourself for yourself, some of them only by referral. So let me just talk to you about a few. A crisis respite center is a very warm, supportive environment for people who believe that they don't really need to go to a hospital or a psychiatric center in a hospital, but they need a break and they need some care and they need intensive care and they need to be away from their environment for a while. There are crisis respite centers in New York, and I'm going to give you, you don't have to take any phone numbers or website addresses during my talk. I'm going to be sending you as community leaders a guidebook that tells you about all these resources and how you can answer other people's questions. So you can access a crisis respite center on your own behalf and say, I need to come and stay with you for a while. There's also the East Harlem Support and Connection Center, which you are probably aware of. That is not a clinic for the neighborhood. It's a place where the Be Heard teams more and more frequently are offering to take people, again, if they need a place to go, if they would benefit by staying someplace else, getting counseling, getting assistance in whatever it is that they need, from their substance use problems to their legal problems, their housing problems, getting reconnected to public assistance, whatever it is that they need. We also want to make sure that you know that there are hospitals that have comprehensive psychiatric emergency programs, or CPEPs. And if someone has a psychiatric issue, you want to go to a hospital that has a CPEP. And this guide that I'm giving you, you can has this link. You can go to NYC Well, find services, and you can find all of the CPEPs in New York City. So next slide. How do you find ongoing care to prevent a crisis? Most crises, if research tells us that these crises that end in emergency are not days in the making or weeks. They're not even months in the making. They're typically years in the making. So what we want is for New Yorkers to realize that there are people and places and services that can help you at every single stage of that brewing event, so that perhaps you can avert that crisis and it never happens in the first place. You can call, as I said, NYC Well, that has a directory of providers all across the city. Ask a counselor for help and find the right provider for you. If you don't have insurance, or you're not eligible for standard insurance for any reason, you are eligible for NYC Care. Every New Yorker can have health insurance. NYC Care is there for people who haven't been able to find it otherwise. Clubhouses are places where people with serious mental illness can go to find a sense of community, a sense of belonging, and a community of people that will support each other. And as I think all of us know, a sense of community, a sense of belonging is really critical to positive, productive mental health, and a sense of happiness in your life, that you feel like you are part of a community, you're needed, and you need others. These clubhouses have only a few professionals that help manage the programs there, but mostly they are run by their members, who are people with serious mental illness. They're extremely successful in helping people feel that they can manage their care and encourage each other to stay connected to care and as care in itself. So if you know someone who might benefit by joining one of these communities, we urge you to tell other people, tell people in your district about these clubhouses. So we have also created a guidebook, a how to help someone who needs mental health care. And it really walks people through everything that I've mentioned and more. Everything from NYC Well to what do you do if you think someone needs hospitalization? If you think that someone should be treated who doesn't want to be treated, but they really need help, how do you help that person? It's all in here. And after this presentation, we're happy to, if you'd like us to, send you as many hard copies as you'd like to distribute in your district. We would like to see these in DA's offices. We'd like to see, we've sent them to all 5 DAs. We'd like to see them in satellite offices. We'd like to see them in hospital waiting rooms, in social service offices, in legal service offices, anywhere, in barbershops, anywhere where you think somebody could use this. And I think everybody could use this, because we're all either experiencing mental health challenges or we know someone who has. Next slide, please. Again, remember the 3 numbers that I leave you with. Call NYC Well if you need to talk to someone right away or you want a referral to care. Call 311 if you think that the person who needs care is homeless and they need support, and call 911 anytime you think someone is in imminent danger. So that's my presentation. I went through it rather quickly, but I hope you know that I have 2 resources for you. One that's for you as community leaders to help you answer questions. It's just for you. And the other for you to help us get to the public and distribute to anyone who you think needs it. So whether that's in your district office or you can help scatter them around, we would really appreciate it. And now I'm more than happy to take any questions that you have.
Marissa?
Yes, hi, good afternoon. Thank you for presenting. Susan.
Hello,
Can you hear me? Can you
I
hear
can
me?
hear you. I can. You're breaking up a little bit, but let's try and see if I can hear your question.
Okay. So just a quick question. Thank you for presenting. I definitely think this is something that is needed. I do not believe that, police are in their line of work to be mental health and social service agents, right? So I think the fact that we are separating the two and figuring out, what's needed and having that help in place is definitely a good thing. I'm wondering, what do you guys do with the information that you receive on a number of calls? So my question is really focused on the fact that I'm sure that some areas of the city may receive more calls than others.
Yes.
Particularly bringing that up because this area has a lot of services and individuals here that may require more attention than other areas of the city. And so I'm wondering, when there are calls that come in or requests are made for additional help within certain communities, how is that information viewed? What's done with it? And how does that inform the city in terms of decisions as to what they're doing with particular areas based off of the data that they get from the calls that come in?
It's a wonderful question. What I can tell you is one of the reasons that we piloted and first launched the Be Heard program in East Harlem was because of the high volume of 911 mental health crisis calls. So we knew this was an area where lots of people were calling. We also knew that some of them were calling from homes, some of them from public places, and some of them were calling from hospitals or clinics. And we are, as we get these calls, we are very aware of where they're coming from, what kinds of locations, and what kinds of referrals or services we're providing at the time. So that will, as we ramp this up, and it's really in its infancy, this program, we're just ramping up. As we get more and more calls, we'll be learning a lot about a community's needs, and we'll be able to share that information with the relevant agencies and with you.
Okay, thank you. We would definitely love to see that. We, continuously having to deal with a lot here in regards to mental health, and it's a problem. I'm going to say outright. And so, yes, we know that we need services. This is definitely, I know, here to help us, but I also am hoping that the data will show that, clearly there is something going on here where we don't need to continue to exacerbate the problem, and maybe figure out where we can spread some of this needed help.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. And what I would say to all of you is, as we are collecting data and analyzing it, we're also posting it on our website. So we'll put in the chat our website. We'll send it to you with our resources that we're sending you. But we have posted data from our first month of operation and data then collected in the first 3 months, and we'll be posting new data shortly. So please visit our website and you'll learn a lot about what we're seeing in pretty close to real time.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Now we have a question by Angel, followed by Michelle.
Thank you, Jose. Thank you, Susan and team, for the presentation.
Thank you.
A very impressive presentation, and so very happy that the city has moved in this direction and finally established something and chose our neighborhood to, amongst the other neighborhoods, to begin this much needed work. In terms of the materials that you were advertising, we will certainly take a bunch of those at the community board office. So whomever
You're open in terms of in-person service, yes?
We are open for in-person services, sure.
Okay, so we will send everything to the office.
Excellent, thank you very much.
Do you have any sense of, I'm just curious, I mean, we'll send you whatever you want. How many
I'll
do you
take-
want for the leaders?
I'll-
And how many do you want for the public?
I'll take a box to start. I'll take a box of each to start, because we'll do, like, we have people that drop in, people that drop by, and then the board also has, from time to time, does tabling, so we can take materials to those tabling events.
Great, great. We will do that.
Thank you.
Big box.
Big
Yes,
box.
yeah, I have plenty of room.
Okay.
Yeah, happy to receive it.
Thank you, Angel. Michelle?
Thank you for your presentation. I really, really appreciated it. I was placed in the position where a nurse and we saw an individual on the street who was in an imminent danger of falling into the street. They were a lot of not prescription medications, and we were so nervous that we stood there and we called 911, describing the situation, saying that we did not need necessarily police attention, but we needed someone to take this individual and put them in a safe environment.
Yeah.
However, it took them about 20 minutes to show up, which was of high concern.
Yeah.
So we waited for 20 minutes until they came. However, that was alarming in itself. So I really am extremely happy that this is happening. Although I would like the response time to be, if it's something that is in imminent danger, 20 minutes, a little bit long to wait.
I agree with you. We're trying very hard to arrive sooner than that. The average for the Be Heard teams is about 12 minutes right now. But if someone is in imminent danger, like the description that you gave, where you're worried that someone might fall into the street any minute, you really should be getting a police car getting there within moments, minutes, single digits, so that that person's life is saved. And then what happens sometimes is, if it's really, then the situation is safe, you get the person on the sidewalk, stabilized, they may call then for a Be Heard team to assess the situation and get the person to the hospital if that's appropriate, or to the support and connection center if that's appropriate.
My other question, well, I don't know if that was really a question, but my other thing is that if an individual, because all of this is being documented, I had no problem in leaving my name and whatever else that was necessary, but there are individuals that might want to call who do not feel comfortable in giving all this information about themselves, but they would like someone to be helped.
Yes, that's fine. You can call NYC Well anonymously and get help for yourself or for someone else. Same with 311, same with 911. If you are describing something that's happening that needs immediate attention, you don't have to give your name.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that that was being adhered to. We're really asking for a lot of information when we called.
Yeah, I mean, they will ask and you can just say, I'm telling you about this guy. I don't want to give my name.
Okay.
It's
all right.
really,
is being adhered to.
Yeah.
Thank you, Michelle. Carlos Diaz has a question.
Yeah, just quickly, I think this is great. I think it's about time we have something like this, especially in our community. I think one of the areas that you should try to reach out to is the not-for-profit organizations. We have a whole bunch of them here in East Harlem, and also the elected officials' offices, because I get a lot of constituents that go visit our elected officials, and you could probably reach out to them there as well.
I agree with you. I will say that we have offered to give presentations to council members. You are more interested than they are right now, but we'd be happy to present to council members. And we do have a community advisory board, and we also very much seek your assistance to reach the stakeholders that you think, anybody in your community that you think would be interested. That's what all this material is for.
Sure.
And we'd be happy to put on another meeting where you invite any nonprofits that you'd like.
Angel, if we could do that, it'd be great, especially with the non-for-profit. And of course, all the elected officials, because they all speak to all the constituents in East Harlem.
Yep, that is absolutely true. I will say Diana Ayala is very familiar with all of this.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Susan, for the presentation. I thought it was great. It's definitely something that we've been looking forward to, particularly in our community. We've had a lot of challenges with mental health. I also second Michelle. I'm here on 116 2nd and 3rd in front of the church. Every once in a while, I'll have to call 911 because I'll see someone just passed out. And 911 is, definitely their operators, they want you to do a couple extra steps, touch them, turn them, and
Yeah, maybe not.
Yeah, I'm like, no, just send someone. I'm not.
Yeah, 911, if you think the person is going to be there for a while, and you think they're homeless, experiencing homelessness, you might call 311.
Okay, that's definitely something to. I mean, when I call, it's usually because I see them that I'm fearful that something may happen to them.
Yeah,
and that's when I call. But if they're wandering around something, it's not. But if I see them unconscious and things of that nature, then I'll make a phone.
And you should be calling 911.
And then at that point, they'll ask me like, "Oh, are they breathing?" And I'm like, "I think he's breathing. Could you see if he wakes up?" And I'm like, "No." But he wakes up and he's angry at me now. I'm like, "No."
Yeah. Sometimes you can tell if someone's breathing at a distance, but
breathing is not too bad because you'll see it. But she's like, try to wake him up, and I'm like, no.
Yeah, and you're right to say no if you're not
a lot of
comfortable.
Liability involved in that.
If you're not comfortable doing it, you shouldn't be doing it.
But definitely, we're gonna reach out to nonprofits. I see Angel already requested a box, so we're definitely looking forward to. We have our very own Kilka Jackson here. So Kilka, go ahead. You have a question?
So I got on a little late and I apologize, but I am excited that this presentation happened, but no one ever states this. So I'm going to do my due diligence. And I've said this to Xavier a million times, but this program actually was an initiative. The pilot program started from a task force created by the 25th Precinct Community Council, myself, Shirley Annan, Michael Parker, Chauncey Parker, Deputy Commissioner Chauncey Parker, and a couple of others on the community affairs team. We actually sat and did this pilot program and wrote out for it. We didn't choose the organization, but this is where this started from. And so I am excited that it has rolled out. I sat and talked to the Be Heard team in Marcus Garvey Park. They were doing a video shoot together recently. I think it was like a commercial, and just excited to see that it's happening. And of course, in any program that there's tweaks that needs to happen, some more community engagement, but it's new. It started out as a pilot program, and I just want to see it blossom because it is definitely something that we love to see. Our officers not responding to needs of mental health issues because they're not trained in that area, and you guys are, and so I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kim. Do we have any more questions? And we can get a copy of the presentation because I think it's definitely a great tool to have and something that we can distribute as well as the hard copies, obviously.
So this is basically the presentation turned into a pamphlet for you as leaders, and this is the one for the public, and we'll send them both to you.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Greatly appreciate you coming, and we're happy for this. We didn't schedule too much to give you ample time to give this presentation.
Great. Let me just introduce you. This Jason Hansman and LaQuisha Grant are both members of my team, the Deputy Director, Jason, and Senior Director, LaQuisha, and they are both intimately involved with all the projects that we talked about.
Before you go, if you could just provide, I'm sorry, Jose, just an email address for anyone who's willing to provide their email address so that if we do want to connect you with other resources for presentations or what have you, we can.
Sure,
you
we will send you that as part of the follow-up.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Well, it's great to have both Jason and LaQuisha here. Thank you both. And I'm looking forward to working with all three of you in the future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Likewise, thank you.
Thank you.
We have some old business in regards to e-vehicle safety and enforcement. From here to the January meeting, I want to put some language together. I'll forward it prior to the meeting so we can kind of establish something. I definitely think we should send something out to the city as well as to the state. I'm seeing more and more of these vehicles. I'm seeing more and more accidents. I've taken a picture of a few, particularly with cars, since they're sharing the street more and more. We now have even a dealership for them on 2nd Avenue, on the corner of 2nd Avenue and 117th, where, I mean, people are buying them. At the Community Council Precinct 25, we were talking about it. And, you know, we learned that the NYPD is taking them. And I have seen them take it from people in particular. A lot of these vehicles are not registered, not insured, have, so, you know, I really think that the very least that we should ask of the city and the state is that these vehicles be insured, have some kind of registration, some kind of accountability. These vehicles are going very fast, many times even faster than the cars. I've seen them even in the bike lanes, zooming, and we had a fatality already on Pleasant Avenue. So it's definitely something that we need to work on and have something, you know, we want to innovate and not wait for the city council to get a lawsuit and then they'll do something in regards to, it's just what we want to do in terms of public safety. Also at that meeting with the 2-5, someone brought up a lack of a signal light, and I'll reach out to, I forgot to talk to Lyle about it, but I'll reach out to him on 120th and Pleasant. We did get one on 119th, and that was also, you know, which wasn't there before. Pleasant Avenue wasn't as transited before, but now with the mall and everything else, it's definitely more transited. I believe we have now a red light. 116, we always had it. 117, we always had it. Now we have one on 118 and 119, but 120th is still a stop sign. And there's a school right there, right? And for another Paladinos, there's a school. So I think now with the transit being what it is over there, I think it's something that we need to, you know, as a committee, push DOT to put a red light signal there to make sure that the kids and, you know, the community is safe there. And that's all I have, guys. If you have any questions, any comments? Okay, let's go forward then. A new business would be what I just mentioned, but we'll bring up. I will be reaching out to all committee members to talk to see if we can make one of these dates, either the 13th or the 17th for this walkthrough, to see if we can, a few of us can be there. I think it's important to work with DOT. Some of the changes we want need to have activity on our part. So you'll hear from me in the next few days so that I can make that appointment with them. Hopefully we can get something going and not necessarily wait until January. And then after that, anyone else have any new business? Okay, Angel. I'm gonna twist my hand. Roll call.
Sorry, I was muted. Jose,
Present.
Erica Cancela is absent. Diane, Carlos,
Present.
Judith,
Present.
Cindy is absent. Marissa,
Present.
Miguel,
Present.
Donna's excused. Michelle,
Did you say my name?
yes.
Present.
Hi. And Jessica is excused. You have quorum.
All right, thank you all. Happy holidays. Please enjoy yourselves. Feel free to reach out.
The
Right.
next meeting is January 4th.
January 4th. At least it's not January 2nd, as we've had it in the past.
I was gonna put January 1st, but I know you'll be out of town.
I'll be in town, but it's still not acceptable. All right, guys, thank you so much.
Good night,
We
everyone.
appreciate.
Good night,
Thank you.
everyone.